Welcome back to another episode of the 6K Sedan and Wagon Challenge presented by Continental Tire. The BMW is, forget it, you guys know already. I hate making this episode because there's so many of you that love the fact that BMWs do require maintenance, they break, and they currently keep proving me wrong where I just keep putting parts into them and somehow they keep breaking on me, specifically this car. But you know what? The thing is, it is a 20-year-old car. I just did this full overhaul on it, so there are things to be expected to go wrong. Specifically, this last problem this current problem that we're dealing with right now, I think has come from the fact that this vehicle has sat for a long time. Anyways, let's cut to the footage of what happened exactly. Once again, BMW is down and left me stranded, but I don't think it's a serious issue. I think what's happened here is I've run out of gas. It started misfiring just randomly on the highway, and it just slowly kept getting worse and worse and worse. So first of all, you can see the gauge is at under a quarter, and from what I read, if you've got a faulty sending unit, that's usually when it runs out of gas. So when I go try to start this thing, sorry for the glare, guys, it just comes to life and then dies. There's no check engine light. So hopefully this is just a matter of running out of fuel here. DP to the rescue, and guess what? A running Lexus. You've got some gas, right? So, he's got a small little 5-liter jug here. Let's get this.
Is this the car or is this the driver though?
No, it's the car because the gauge is reading still that it has like just under a quarter. So it could be like a bad sending unit or something else. So we're gonna find out right now. Top this baby up.
One problem. I filled this jug up.
Yes.
Took the cap off, took this out.
Oh no.
Got no hose.
Oh man, this is gonna be
fun. Water. I figured we could maybe turn it.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. So we don't have a way to fill this up properly, which we're improvising. We've got a water bottle here and a twig that's in there holding the little thing open. So pour it into. Oh boy. Well, so much for the paint job on this. Let's see how this goes here. It's going. Success.
2 hours later, we'll be done.
Yep. All right, we have some gas in the vehicle. Let's see if this thing will start up now. Oh, okay, we're gonna try again here. Look at that. It's back and working. Damn you, gas gauge, damn you. So yes, indeed, it seems like we have a fuel sender issue. I don't know if it's actually the new one. So I just put that sending unit in, and there is an arm that swings up and down that reads that fuel level, and it may be jammed up. That could be as simple as that. Or is it because the other side, there's also a sending unit on that side, that could be jammed up or gunked up, because this car did sit for 5 years and had real crusty gas in it. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the new unit out, and even if it was jammed up, I'm gonna look at the other one, because like I said, it sat in some really old fuel and it could also have a potential problem down the line. You can see this is the new sending unit, and I can see right now that it does not look like the float is jammed up or had any type of impedance. So it does look like it's functioning properly, which is not a good thing, because I was hoping that I had somehow jammed this unit up when I put it in, and that was the problem, but it doesn't seem like the case. So I'm gonna remove this whole pump right now. So you can see this sending unit here certainly has never been removed. I can tell by the original piece of tape here from BMW and the fact that it is absolutely filthy. So maybe this unit could be the one that's gone out. Maybe it's all gunked up. We're gonna find out here in a second. Here's a tool I may not have shown you before, but these are hose removal pliers, I suppose, and they are so good in a case like this here, where you can see this hose has never been off, and now I can grab it with a bunch of strength actually and wiggle it off here without worrying about wrecking it. Usually if you just use regular pliers, they really bite in there, but you can see that came off like a champ. Now, is this gonna spray some fuel? Let's see. No, this is a return line. So we're good. Oh, just a little squirt there. Wow. That is factory sealed 20 years ago. Requiring a lot of force to move it. Slowly going. Little quick disconnect there. Now, you can see this works fine, but the question is whether it's reading or not. So let's pull these out of the car here and I'll show you how to test them. So to test these, it's actually very simple. All you need to do is have yourself a multimeter, set it up for ohms, and then you can test the resistance on your level here. And you can see we are starting off at around 28. It's probably a little low for the tank. I don't think it would ever get that empty, but I think the range is between 50 and 70 on the low side and up to, I think it was like 400, yeah. Really what we're looking for is any inconsistencies while we're moving this. If we see this break or it just like jumps all over the place, then we have an issue. And usually you're supposed to test this with it in the up position, but I've cycled it a couple times. Just, you know, I've had it down and I find this way I can be the most steady and move it the best. But you can see going up, it's not, see, it is jumping around a little bit.
Yeah.
So the other one was like very smooth, but I mean it is consistent. If I stop there, it is giving us a very consistent reading. If I go a little bit further up, it does have a consistent reading.
But it was interesting that down near, closer to empty, it was jumping around more, which might indicate it's...
Yeah. Oh yeah, see, it is jumping around.
It's jumping around a bunch there, man. I think that's your problem.
Oh, but see, now it's switching over to that like kilo ohms.
Oh, okay.
See, so...
Why is it doing that?
Yeah, I mean, this is an auto, it's a cheap multimeter here, but... And if you start climbing up, it reads properly, and it continues to move up in a very steady fashion, which is a good sign until, you know, we get to the full marker. And that's where it starts getting up into, you know, close to 400 or whatever. So, I mean, it's pretty definitive. The new unit is working. So we swapped out the voltmeter here just to be sure. And you can see we are getting a little bit of inconsistency right in the bottom where it's nice right now. It's smooth. And then once you bring it back down, see, it's jumping a little bit there. There's a little bit of, like, right there. There's the hiccup.
Yeah.
You can see right about there. You know what? This is like $150 to replace, so I am going to replace it. But before we do that, why don't we try to clean this? Like, this does look certainly really dirty. I mean, it doesn't hurt at this point to give this a little bit of a spray with some contact cleaner. Let's give this a quick spray here. And then what I'll do, I mean, oh, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get, there's no way I can get in there to like clean this.
Wow, that's working better.
It's working much better. I'm telling you, it's just like one little spot right around here. You can see it kind of hangs up there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've just placed an order for one of these, so they'll be here in a day. But there's another thing I wanted to double check, and that is whether the fuel that's being pumped into the left saddle is making it over into the right saddle. So this is very scientific. I'm using a ruler, throwing it in here and seeing where we're at. We are about 2.5 inches. This one is at 2.25 inches. So I'd say, I mean,
Pretty
the
close.
discrepancy is probably me with this.
Yeah.
So I'd say we're right in line where we should be. Both sending units are back in, and man, I've been huffing on some gas back here. Things are starting to look a little hazy. Holy smokes, I think I just had a nightmare there, DP. But anyways, let's jump up front. I want to show you guys something really cool on that Extron's head unit. So the iBus app on the Extron unit has been remarkable. It is super, super cool. I essentially have this, what they call onboard computer, which gives me a whole bunch of information: engine speed, voltage, oil temp, coolant temp, you know, your range and all this stuff. But what I really like is that it has fuel level, and it shows 13 liters right now, which is hard for me to believe that there's 13 liters in that tank, but I could totally be wrong. It could actually be there. And you guys will notice the gauge is just a hair under a quarter tank, and this is a 70 liter tank, which I think divided by 4 makes around 17 liters for at the quarter mark, which it's a little bit lower, which would make sense that it's 13. So it does look like everything is jiving here. But I think the next thing for me to try, and just to make sure, like I'm gone in the hole here, I'm just making sure that, trying to figure out that that sending unit is actually the issue. What we're gonna do is we're going to open up the fuel tank again and pump some gas out of the one saddle and see how many liters we get here. So since I don't have a proper fuel siphon pump, which by the way, if you know of one, post in the comments. We've tried various ones here. The one I used previously was like a water hose one that has like hose attachments, but the fuel melts it, so that doesn't work. I'd love to know your suggestions, like what is a good electric pump that you can set up and you can run a hose into here and siphon gas out. What I've done here is quickly rigged up an AEM fuel pump with, as you can see, a hose on the end of it and a battery and a switch. And I should be able to just drop this in here now and we'll start pumping. So there goes the gas. It's making moves here. Okay, so the pump is not working anymore, which means we are, I think like there's that much gas left. So there's just a hair left. I'm not gonna pump the other side. We're just gonna take a measurement on this and then just double it and see where we're at. We're at about this much gas. So it's a considerable amount. Okay, there you go. So we've got 4 liters in there right now. So now what I'm gonna do is transfer this over into here and we'll pour another, hopefully 4 liters in there, and we'll see where we're at.
It's quite the scientific endeavor here, PT.
I know, all this for a gas gauge. I'm being stubborn at this point. We could have just said it's that sending unit and send it. Wow. While we were talking, we just eclipsed our marker here. So we're literally up to the top here, and that would mean that's 4 liters. So that's about 5, maybe a little bit more. So that's 9 liters of gas.
And there's still some in there?
And there's still some in here.
Wow, so maybe 10 liters total?
10 liters of gas, which to me means, man, that gauge must be reading accurately. So then, I don't know, like what's going on here? What is going on? That concludes a whole lot of investigating and trying to diagnose this out. Honestly though, I don't have a good answer. Like the amount of gas that was in the tank seems to match what was reading on the gauge cluster. So, I mean, maybe, just maybe, that sender is wrong. I'm gonna replace it anyways. On this side, the other thing that I was thinking of is maybe I didn't pop the fuel pump perfectly into the housing. Like it snaps into the spot, and it actually has like a spot, I think, that siphons gas from the other side. Maybe I didn't have that in properly. If I didn't have that in properly, then what could have happened there was it was reading like there was no gas, or it was saying that there was gas, but because this side wasn't in properly, it had sucked this side dry. I don't know. Really, at this point, if you go online, you can search people. Some people are telling you this is how it is and that's how it works. Like, and some people say it's your fuel pump that's on its way out. The other question I have for you guys, and what is kind of pathetic, is this is a station wagon. I went to put a forward-facing baby seat in here, and I noticed there were no tethers, no anchors to attach to. And ironically, the cushion here has this the two plastic holes where you're like, oh, you could just put the belt in, the seatbelt lock from the baby seat, and it wasn't there. Same thing behind here. There's supposed to be a tether. It is also not there. There's provisions for it showing on the plastic, but it's not there. I just had to pull the rear tray here to have a further look and see, because like I said, it's kind of ironic that they've got the anchor sign on the back there, and yet when you pull this up, you can see here there's nothing. All they had to do was put an insert right here, and I could have bolted it down, but they don't have it. So I did a bit of Googling, and it looks like maybe some of the later model cars had them, like 2003s. But again, I think they may have just been like welded to the chassis, because I don't see any provisions here, anything like that. So if you guys have a solution for me, by all means, let me know that doesn't involve welding. Boy, was that a tricky job. For whatever reason, these tires seem to have some type of adhesion promoter, some type of glue, and it made removing them off of the rim really, really difficult. But I gotta say, the Ranger tire mounter and dismounter worked so well. Like, this tire machine is fabulous. You saw I was able to use this and kind of like push it down and push it up, so it really makes the job nice and easy. We've been loving this machine. And by the way, for those of you wondering why am I dismounting these wheels, well, the reason is I'm taking them to powder coat. I mentioned in a previous episode, I'm gonna redo these in shadow chrome, and there's a place in town called Union Rim. I talked to all the E39 guys locally, and they said they are the go-to. It's a hard thing to do, to get the shadow chrome right and just like that perfect tint. So I'm gonna take it to them and we'll see how it works out. But first, let's throw these on the balancer and see if they're all true. So let's spin this one up and let's see what we've got here. So the outside looks really good. You can see there's a slight little ding somewhere here. Ooh, this one looks good. That is excellent. Second front one, and the verdict is, ooh, you can see this one certainly has a bend in it.
Inside.
Somewhere on the inside, yeah. Let's unlock that. Let's keep going. Oh, I see it right around here. Not terrible. Not terrible. I'm sure those guys will be able to fix that bad boy up. And the final rim, man, this one's looking perfect too. That's the rear one. So that's it, guys. Looks like we have a decent set of wheels here. And hopefully they'll turn this around real quick so I can show you what they look like. New OEM ascending unit has finally arrived. So I think it is time I throw this thing in, and then we can see if the gas gauge goes down considerably, because we did pump a bunch of fuel out of there. So I'm curious to see that, because now the tanks will be uneven. So this is really another weird, interesting experiment to see what happens here. So with that new fuel sending unit in, we are showing pretty much empty on the fuel gauge. The yellow indicator light is on as well. And we are showing 4 liters of fuel here. Maybe we should try to start this thing and see if it runs right now.
Sure, yeah.
Which I assume it probably will, but you never know. Let's see. Okay, so it is running. That's a good thing. And it's not sputtering. Okay, yeah. It's not sputtering. All right, it shows me a range of 24 miles. That's a good thing, I guess. Again, we don't know because the way the fuel was drained on one side, but I mean, at this point, I'm just gonna say it's probably good. There's nothing else that I can really go into to figure out what exactly was the problem.
Already feels faster than the Lexus, PT.
It does. I got to get this thing dialed in, and my telescoping and up and down steering wheel works, unlike yours.
All the power options, yes.
So
yes.
yeah.
Your seats are a million way adjustable too.
They are, man. They are. It is a beautiful ride in here. But before we get into any of that, we're taking this thing for a drive. This is officially the first drive for you guys.
Yeah.
And look at the gas gauge. It is low.
It is low.
We're testing. We're
Yes.
going testing. We got the jug in the back. It says 10 liters here on the fuel level, and
wow.
so far
So
the car is cruising.
It is driving nice.
So we don't have any sputtering.
No.
It seems to be going okay, which is a good thing right now. I think we may have cured our problem.
Yeah.
Or I can't drive this thing under a quarter tank of gas. So
that would kind of suck.
it would.
You'd like to be able to go on a road trip and not have to worry about that.
It's unacceptable in my opinion. It just there's got to be some type of variance somewhere, or an issue somewhere, if you can't drive with under a quarter tank of gas.
There's got to be a fix for it, and it seems like maybe you found it.
Yeah.
And it rides pretty well on the roughest road in Hamilton here.
I think it does, man. Yeah. I've been driving this car for on and off a couple of weeks now, and man, it's pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil too much, but this thing is like great in every way. It has power whenever you need it.
Mm-hmm.
It drives so nicely on the highway. Like, this thing is the definition of a highway cruiser, and you don't even have to downshift when you just lean into it. Look at it.
Immediate, yeah.
Like, it's so good.
It's a honey of a motor. I will admit to having serious motor envy, because this thing is so torquey. And it sounds great too, like with that Dinan exhaust system. It sounds amazing.
Like,
so
it's got so good.
I've certainly got some envy, but I'm not envying the reliability experience you've had so far.
Yes.
But let's hope that this is the end of it.
Yeah. Let's face it. There's a reason why so many people in the comments said BMW equals break my wallet, which can be true.
Yeah.
It certainly can be true. I still love them. I think bar none, this generation, like 2005 and under BMWs to me are like the pinnacle BMW. They are just so good, but they do require maintenance, and that's what it's always going to come down to, or the odd occasional fix. I know people hate me when I use the term maintenance, because I know some
rod
of it is not.
Shouldn't be a maintenance item.
Yes.
I'll harp on that, but anyway, I mean, it was an experience putting this thing back together again, and it is a really cool car.
It is.
It's indisputably very cool, and it has real presence on the road. It sounds amazing, and the quality of the interior is much higher than the Lexus. Despite the months of pain and anguish, I get it. I'm into it, but I also like the Lexus for its simplicity and its I don't have to think about anything.
100%,
I
man.
can just ignore it and treat it like a car. I don't have to think of it as this breakable object, this Fabergé egg from Germany. It's just a Japanese appliance that does what I want it to.
I agree with you. That's the beauty with the Japanese cars. There is a certain amount of relief that comes with them, that you know they're not going to break down, or they're not going to leave you stranded, where these vehicles, it's kind of a 50-50. But that's what I've been working on so vigorously, to make sure that this vehicle does not suffer from that. And it's a matter of almost like having to go through the process of replacing so much until you get to the point where you kind of feel like you've fixed everything. And granted, when buying when buying this wagon, I suppose it was probably at its worst.
Yeah, you bought a scrap car, basically.
Yeah, and restored it, and it's there. So just
it's fast.
It's so good,
fast, guys.
And that was like half of.
Let's not give it all away here. This is just a teaser test drive.
I know. So
I guess the big question for me is, will this survive our road trip in the grand finale? Will you make it to the end of the road trip without having your four-ways on at the side of the road, calling me up saying, Dave, go get me some parts, so bring me some fuel.
We're going on a Gears and Gasoline style road trip. We are covering off
all of Canada.
All of Canada.
Coast to coast to coast.
Coast to coast, even Alaska, because we feel like it, and we think these vehicles are certainly up for the task.
They're ready.
Yeah.
So get ready, guys. It's going to be big.
So there is one last thing to do, and that is to upload the Dinan Stage 1 software. As you guys recall, in a previous video, we did that, or I did that, and then I essentially could not get the car started because of the EWS delete, which is an immobilizer because this is a swap. It doesn't work properly. So thankfully, Paul at Fixels to the rescue. I'm gonna load this software into the DME, and then what he's gonna come in and do is do the EWS delete after that, and then we'll be able to get this car back up and running. All right, we are live here. Paul has logged in through TeamViewer, which is quite an awesome program actually. And now what he's going to do is start reading the, I think, ECU through DME Flash, and then he can go through and do that whole EWS delete. So I'm gonna keep you posted here. Now that Paul's made all the appropriate changes, there isn't much to show obviously on this screen, but he has done all the delete, the EWS, and some other stuff. He is uploading the new file to the DME, and it should be as simple as that. Just got the go ahead to start this thing up, so let's see, cross your fingers here. Yes, success. Sweet, thank you, Paul, you are the man. Moving on here, the one last thing that Paul is going to attempt to fix is the, like I said, the steering servo, the issue that I have right now with it not working, which is causing a whole host of errors for the traction control system. And that's the one thing I don't love, is like one small error with like, I don't know, the car doesn't know where the steering wheel is, and it just triggers the whole thing to not work, which kind of sucks. He thinks he may be able to do this. He's not 100% sure if we've got the right software, so cross your fingers for me and let's see what happens here, because I really want this thing to be free of any lights on the dash. You can see here, this is INPA software, and it allows you to do a bunch of checks and monitors. And right now I think Paul is checking to make sure that the steering angle sensor is working correctly. Wow, no errors on the steering angle sensor. That's huge. But I still do, oh no, there it is again. Steering angle adjustment necessary, man. As I'm sure you guys can see, it is the next day, and last night Paul and I worked a little bit late, mainly Paul, trying to figure this whole thing out. And it turns out that we think the actual steering angle sensor is bad, because whatever Paul tried to do, he would reset everything was good, and then that error would pop up again, which ultimately leads to a bad sensor. And I cannot thank Paul enough for all the effort he has put into this. For me to sit down and actually learn INPA, NCS dummy, like BMW Flash, all the software that he's using to reprogram everything would have taken weeks. And he's just been able to do that for me, which has been such a huge savior, a time save, and obviously helping me so much. So Paul, thank you so much. Seriously, I appreciate it more than you know. It has helped me build this car to what I want much quicker and easier. So once again, thank you so much. And thank you to you guys for watching. Please let me know. This video was a little bit longer. It certainly included everything with the fuel pump mishap and or the sending unit mishap and all that stuff. So I'm curious to know. You guys said in the past that you wanted to see the nitty gritty. Did you guys enjoy this episode? Did you think it was too long? Make sure to post in the comments and let me know.